Good afternoon, guys. Today I want to show you how you can use Google Slides as either a means of creating an interactive notebook or as a way of creating a informational handbook of sorts. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to slidesmania.com. And so slidesmania.com is incredible. Paula has a ton of great templates. Now the two that I'm going to show you today are based out of this template. But I want you to know that there are tons that she has created here. This is a free digital notebook that has some really cool sections. I love her color breakdown, beautiful rainbow. This as well as a handbook template, really neat. There's one here that looks like a YouTube channel, one here that looks like a phone app. So you can download any of these, and she's got a whole lot more if you click here. But this is the one that I'm going to be working with today, so I want to show you what that looks like. If you click on it, right, you can download it from here, and you can get it as a Google slide or as a PowerPoint. So I'm going to be using it initially in Google Slides, but PowerPoint is great too. I will note that if you intend to eventually convert this to a PDF, and it's going to be a large set of slides, I might do it in PowerPoint just because PowerPoint will convert more quickly to a PDF than the slides will. Slides totally will convert to PDF, but one of the ones I'm going to show you today has over 130 slides, 150. I mean, it's huge. And having it in Google Slides is great, but it was actually easier for me to convert it to a PDF once it was in a PowerPoint. It's just a small detail. If you click Use in Google Slides, you get this prompt here, and then you click Use Template. When you say Use Template, you will have it open up for you as a template that you can edit. And it gives you a little welcome message. It tells you, how you can edit this, put instructions in, and it has all of these home pages ready for you to go. It's also set up with some other information and instructions about placing notes outside the slide limits, kind of what your other options are here. And you can edit this to your heart's content. This obviously has all these different tabs labeled as different subject areas. So if we go to View and Zoom, and let's zoom in to like 50%. You can see it's math, science, geography, English, history. They're all entitled different things. If you wanted to change those, there's a couple different ways you can do it, but one option, let me zoom in just a little more so you can see it. Let's go to 100%. All right, so let's say I don't want it to say math, I want it to say Unit 1, right? All you've got to do is select it, select all, and then Unit 2, right? Easy peasy. Now, there's one other thing that I want to show you about these tabs. They can be hyperlinked, and that is really, really, really helpful. So we'll go back over here to slide 4, right? This is the math slide, right? And it says math here because when I change the title of the slide, let's go back over here. Where did I do that? Here it is. Okay, on slide 3, I changed the titles of the tabs, right? But I didn't change the titles on all the other slides. It doesn't apply to all slides at once. So how can I do that? She gives you some helpful instructions. To replace titles of the tab, go to Edit, Find, and Replace. Right, so that anytime it sees the word science, it will quickly find, replace, and change it to Unit 3 or whatever it is that you want to do. So let's actually give that a shot so you can actually see it. So Edit, Find, and Replace, and find the word science. And replace with Unit 3. Okay. Next. Okay, it says, hey, look, I found one. And you can just replace all if you want to. And that's going to take just a sec. And let's look at all the different slides. Now you can see Unit 3, Unit 3, Unit 3, right? It went ahead and did that for all of them. And actually, here we go. and all those title slides, all those title sections that used to say science now say Unit 3. So it found all of those and it fixed it for me. So there is a quick way to do that. I just wanted to show you that. And then the other thing I wanted to show you that I think is really handy, and you do want to do this really early on in your editing process. If you want these to be hyperlinked, and trust me, you do, it'll make your life really, really helpful if you can, is you want to hyperlink all of these to their home tabs, right? So let's say when I click on math, I want it to go to this math slide. And then it can function like a really cool interactive notebook. You do need to make sure those hyperlinks are done very early on, very much at the beginning. And so what I've done in the past is highlighted, well, I guess I don't really want to do that. Well, no, we'll do it with welcome. Right, highlight the entire word and then right click. And let's expand this out so you can see everything. Okay, so when you right click, you can link it. And in Google Slides, you can say, I want to link to slides in this presentation. Slide 1. Apply. All right, now it's turned into that kind of hyperlink blue, so you may want to go back in there, change the text color to white. Next to math, right? So I know that math is slide 4, so I'm going to select. And you can see slide 4 is already linked to math. But then if you go to this next one, it's not hyperlinked. So click on link, slides in this presentation, Unit 3, slide 9, Unit 3. Oh, my apologies, slide 8. Let's double check. No, it's slide 9. Slide 9 is the one I want it to link to. Okay, apply. And then turn it white. Now, once you do that to every single tab, and you know that every single tab is linked to its home page, what you can do, and I'm just going to do it for these 3, right, is I'm going to select this whole box, select it, click Shift, and then select all 3 boxes. I'm going to copy, which for me was Command C, but you could also right click and say copy. Let's go to a slide that I don't think has any hyperlinks currently. Okay. And you can remove these, which you could do with select as well. Command V. And you can see that the hyperlinks moved with me when I did that. All right. So those hyperlinks should, in theory, again, still take you to slide 9. It's important that you do that on the front end. The reason I say it's important you do it on the front end is, let's say you are on this slide. I'm going to select, shift, select, delete, paste. Okay, so I've got these embedded links here, right? If I go to then File, actually what I would probably do is copy that slide. And when I copy that slide, the links are there. So you don't want to have to do this for every single slide, especially if you know this is going to be a big slide deck. You know this is going to be 150 pages. You want to set up your links at the beginning to the tabs so that you don't have to do that with every single page. That's a huge pain. I've done it. It's a huge pain. So just kind of set it up at the front end, set it up once, set it up right, have your links going where you want them to go, and that way you don't have to deal with it. Oh, that's interesting that that one moved. All right, I'll troubleshoot with that. It looks like this one is still where I want it to go. So, all that said, that's how you can take this template and embed those links, right? So that's a digital notebook template. And that's where it comes from. It comes from Slidesmania, and it's created by Paula. There are 2 samples of how this template can be applied that I want to show you. And full disclaimer, neither one of these were made by me. I've played with these, I've edited these, I've done things to them. These are created by other teachers, and I am shamelessly benefiting from their creativity so thank you to them. The first one is an AP History Resource Handbook that was created by another teacher on my on a Facebook group that I'm a part of. And I've taken her work and I've edited it to suit my needs. But in here, she has created all kinds of resources. So it's not an interactive notebook per se, it's a handbook with tons of content. Now this winds up being over 150 slides. It's huge. And so what I did is I downloaded it as a PowerPoint. And the reason I did that is because when these slides are opened in Google Slides, it'll work, but when it's 150 slides long, it's really, really big. And if you try to export this as a PDF that kids can click through, it's going to kick back on you. It's not going to want to do that. So I downloaded it as a PowerPoint, so File, and then download PowerPoint, right? And then once I had it as a PowerPoint, it was really easy to convert to a PDF. Oh, sure, you think you can click PDF, but no, it's going to give you a hissy fit if you try and just skip straight to PDF. Don't know why that's the case, but again, with big files, it is. So, when this is downloaded as a PDF, all of these links work. So, historical thinking, it skips right to that tab for me. Information about themes in world history, it's going to skip right to that tab for me. So all of these are live links that take me to different pages. And this whole deck, I mean, let's see, it's 152 slides. So this deck, let me zoom out just to, there we go, zoom out a little bit. So this handbook here has information welcoming them to the class, making some introductions to the course itself, and then let's go back up to the welcome. Right, the absolute most important information in this handbook, right, is this statement about your mental health and how important that is. Historical thinking skills, the AP exam, study tips, themes. Down here, some religions. That information about all the major world religions. She's put in here vocabulary, descriptions. I've edited these to kind of include the icons and to make it snazzy, but all of this content was stuff that the other teacher put in there. She included a geography section, which I thought was really cool. And again, I've edited it slightly to suit my needs. But the world history, the AP World History regions are here. Maps of all the different continents and regions with some information about them. I mean, it's just a really great reference handbook for students, and it's got a lot of the things that they need to be successful. So this is going to be provided to students as a PDF that they can download onto their own devices and that they can click through. And for the record, if students have an iPad and they're using GoodNotes or apps similar to GoodNotes, if downloaded as a PDF, they can click through the tabs on that device without too much issue. In fact, it's super smooth. So this is a way of providing students with an informational handbook. And again, I strongly recommend making those links, live links for students, so that they can navigate this with as much ease as possible. Now let's go back over to the actual, so that's the actual file of the handbook. I also want to show you this. This is a digital notebook that's using the exact same template from Slidesmania. The teacher who created this digital notebook has left it open for students to edit. She has left the tabs unlinked because this one's a smaller deck. It's only about 20 slides. So if students, don't have these linked, it's not the end of the world, but especially when it's a big file, I highly recommend making these live links. In fact, I may still live link this one. And what this teacher did is she used information from their book they're going to be reading, AMSCO, and she has embedded questions from each of the units that AP World History has that tie to the AMSCO textbook. And so she's labeled the tabs here. Now there's no 1.7, so she just left this one blank, right? The template itself is a set template, so you can't just get rid of the tab, but she didn't need to put anything there, so she just left it blank. So that said, she included information, questions here, and what she did is she left this as an editable text box for students, so students can take notes. She put a note here about gunpowder and guns, but then students have the option of taking their own notes about the impact of gunpowder and guns in China during this period. And she's included images that she's taken from Benjamin Freeman's website, Freemanpedia, and she has built something really, really useful for kids as a resource for them by pasting in these questions so they can take notes about the Seljuk Turks or the Mamluks, for example, from their textbook, and she's included here learning targets. It's just super, super useful. And so I'm wildly grateful to her for creating this. And so this will be something that my students are going to get as an interactive digital notebook. And in terms of how I'm going to assign these to students, I'm going to have the original file in my Google Drive. And when I give this to them as an assignment in Google Classroom, I'm going to assign it to make a copy for each student so that each student gets their own that they can complete and then have access to. So just a few thoughts on that. I'm hoping that this gives you a few ideas of how you can create digital notebooks for students. And again, the bigger the file, the more useful it may be to work with it in PowerPoint. Google Slides is great. It's just when you hit 100 plus slides, it kind of tends to slow down a little bit. So just a thought, a word to the wise. All of these Slides Mania templates are built with kind of built-in font sets, but you can always adjust those. So when I did when I was playing around with this handbook, I wanted to change this to Century Gothic. I liked this one though. I really liked this particular font Handley, so I left this alone. But I liked all of these to be Century Gothic instead of, I think it was Roboto maybe was the default font on this. Am I right? Am I wrong? What is, yeah, Roboto was the original. I didn't really care for that. So I did change some of that, and you totally can personalize these pretty wildly. The most important feature that they have that you don't really want to get rid of, obviously, are the tabs that have been built here. I'm trying to think of anything else to mention with this. I hope that that gives you at least a starting point for how you can use some of these free digital notebooks for students. And you can leave, blank pages, obviously, as well for them, but it can be a way of providing content as a handbook, the reference material, and it can also be a way for students to show you their learning and as a way for students to keep their notes. So I'm hoping that this gives you a few ideas, and I am hoping that you're able to use these materials. Thanks so much.